Okay, so we've made it to lesson 7, and in this lesson we are going to be finding perimeter, circumference, and area. So using different dimensions of different polygons, different two-dimensional shapes, we are going to find their perimeters and their areas. So this first part, I'm going to show you these formulas and we're going to write them together so you have kind of a better understanding of how to find these different measurements. So first, a square. The perimeter of a square would be just adding all 4 sides together. A more efficient way to represent that is you take 4 times whatever the side length is, because you have 4 of them, right? And then area, side length times another side length would be S times S. Better way to write that would be S squared. So area is S squared for a square. So side length squared. Moving on to rectangle. For a rectangle, the perimeter would be, if I was going to add up all the sides, would be L plus W plus W, which would be a lot to write. So kind of to abbreviate that, 2 times L plus 2 times W, because there are 2 lengths. There are 2 widths on a rectangle. Then the area is just length times width for a rectangle. So pretty simple formula for the area of a rectangle. Moving on to a triangle. Perimeter, there's not a hard and fast formula for perimeter of a triangle. Just think adding all 3 sides together, all right? And since all 3 sides may be all different measures, we just write that as side plus side plus side for triangle, okay? And then area would be 1/2 times the base times the height of a triangle, all right? So the base and the height are formed, or they form a right angle. So it's the literal height of the triangle and the base, right? And then finally, circle. Circumference of a circle is the perimeter of a circle. So that's 2 times pi times r. That's the circumference of a circle. Think of that as the perimeter of a circle. The area of a circle, so the area that circle fills in, is going to be pi times r squared. Pi times the radius squared is the area of a circle. So now that we've got the formulas, we're going to go on to using those formulas to find some perimeters and areas. So in example 1, the perimeter of this rectangle, it says the inbounds portion of a singles tennis court is shown. Find the perimeter and the area. So we've got a length, we've got a width. So perimeter of this rectangle is 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. Okay, so 2 times 78 is 156. 2 times 27 is 54. I add those together. The perimeter of this court is 210 feet. Okay? So perimeter, let me think of things like, I think of fencing. What would it take to fence in something? That's the perimeter, right? The distance around something. The area, I would think if I was painting something or if I was filling in something, that's the area. So area of this court is just length times width. 78 times 27 would be the area. Okay, so 78 times 27, the area of this court is 2,106 square feet, and that's important. Those units are important. So perimeter is just in feet. Area, square footage, square feet. So in the guided practice, I changed the dimensions of the court. I want you guys to find the perimeter and the area of that court with new dimensions, right? So pause the video, work it out, and then check your solution with me in a few seconds. All right, so for the perimeter of this extended playing field or playing court, I just widened the court out to 36 feet. So I did the same formula 2 times 78 plus 2 times the new width, 2 times 36. Added those together. My perimeter of that court was 228 feet. 228 feet. So that increased the perimeter, obviously. We made the court wider. And then the area, I just did the length times the new width, 78 times 36, 2,808 square feet. So that's important to include those units on your solutions or on your measurements, okay? So make sure that you're including units when you are describing feet or perimeter and area, right? So next example, finding circumference and area. So the smallest circle in an Olympic target for archery is 12 centimeters in diameter. Find the approximate circumference and area. So I'm just going to draw a picture. And this is remembering a little bit of vocab for circles. If it has a 12 centimeter diameter, that means that the length across that entire circle is 12 centimeters, right? So that means the radius is 6 centimeters. So it's important for us to know that for our circumference and area, because circumference is 2 times pi times the radius. In this case, it's 6. And I'm going to do an approximation here because pi isn't a whole number, all right? So 2 times 6, or 2 times pi times 6. Well, 2 times 6 is 12. 12 times pi is going to be about 37 point, and I would say 7 centimeters. Okay, so if I was putting that in my calculator, I got 37.69911, and it keeps going on. So if I round 9 up, that rounds the 6 up to 0.7. So that's why I got 37.7. So we're going to generally round to 2 decimal places when we can, right? So for area, that formula you can reference, pi times r squared. So that's pi times 6 squared, or pi times 36. So that area of that circle is about, and I would say that one's about 113.1 square centimeters, right? Square centimeters. So I'll write that area a little bit better. That wasn't very good. 113.1 square centimeters for our area. So it's important that we know radius is what we're usually going to use to find circumference and area. All right, that's helpful. So guided practice again. Try it, wait a few seconds, resume the video, and then I'll explain how to run through it. So these guided practice are important to get you prepared, because if it's just you copying what I'm doing, it's not going to help you a whole heck of a lot. All right, so circumference, pretty straightforward. I just substitute in 8 to my circumference formula, 2 times pi times 8 into my calculator, and I round to 2 decimal places, which would be 50.27 meters approximately. And then area, just plugging in pi times 8 squared, pi times 64. I round that, and I get 201.06 meters squared. So area is in square meters, circumference just meters. So now you can move on to the next step in the lesson, and then come back and finish for video 2 in these notes later on.